Let's get the opposition's reaction, though, to what's going on. Erin O'Toole is the Conservatives' foreign affairs critic. He is joining us from our studios here in Toronto. Mr. O'Toole, good to have you with us. Thank you for this today.
Thank you, Todd.
What do you make of what the Prime Minister had to say in this whole dispute?
Well, I found his comments encouraging, actually, because he's going to get engaged in the file. The challenge I've been pointing out is there's been a lot of pitfalls to the Trudeau government's substitution of real diplomacy by Twitter. We saw that going back to his tweets following the death of Fidel Castro. We saw that with his Welcome to Canada tweet that threw our border and our refugee system into turmoil. And now I think what could have been resolved by some face-to-face diplomacy blew up. There's certainly a huge overreaction by the Saudis, but nothing replaces person-to-person contact when it comes to diplomacy.
How serious is this?
It's very serious. You know, I saw your press conference that you covered. There's an irony there. Premier Couillard, as a Canadian physician, worked in Saudi Arabia. In fact, we have a 40-year history of training and accrediting most medical professionals from that country. And in fact, there's over 1,000 frontline healthcare providers right now that might be pulled out of our system, including at Hospital for Sick Children here in Toronto. Decades worth of doing this together. So there's interests our countries have in common, even though we have values that are very different. So you can advance concerns about those values. The Conservatives did this every single time. We've been much more consistent with respect to bringing up human rights, but you also can engage in a way that's respectful, and Twitter's not the way to do it. You can't see what someone's reaction to a tweet is, but if you're in a meeting, you can see and you can work on areas of mutual interest while raising human rights cases, while raising the Badawi case, for example.
What's the solution here? I mean, how do we get a win-win? Is there a possible win-win?
Well, I think I'm glad that the Prime Minister said he's now personally engaged. The Minister has spoken to her counterpart. I waited to comment. I wanted to hear, and I spoke with Minister Freeland last night. I appreciated the call. I gave her some advice I had with respect to the situation. Look, they had let the relationship with Saudi Arabia deteriorate over a couple of years. Several ministerial visits from Canadian ministers were canceled or pulled back. I think there was a general drift in relations, and a tweet in Arabic from our embassy on the ground there that used language slightly different than the English version, done when the ambassador was gone, I think was a bit of a minor gaffe. I think acknowledging that people-to-people relationships are far better than Twitter would be a start. I know I've heard through my sources that the Prime Minister didn't mention the Badawi case when he spoke to the King of Saudi Arabia a few months ago. So you have to be consistent here. Twitter's not a substitution for actually fighting for our interests and our values.
We're going to show some of the messages you sent out on Wednesday evening, if I can bring them up, or overnight anyway, where you were saying, you know, that this idea of conducting diplomacy via Twitter is problematic and can sometimes lead to this sort of challenge. Now it would seem, Mr. O'Toole, that the Saudi government would like an apology from the Prime Minister. I mean, is that something that Canada should consider?
Well, I've made some recommendations to the Minister, and time will tell on what she will do with them. I don't think an apology is needed, but I think actually an acknowledgement of nothing replaces person-to-person relationships and building a relationship, especially if you don't agree with them on certain issues or you have consular cases. So perhaps a trip by the Minister to address some of the concerns. I've said publicly, I think the reaction, the overreaction from the Saudis is going to hurt their country as well. Certainly this is a spat that should have been avoided. But now that it's here and there are, hospitals, universities, businesses impacted, how can we address their concerns while also holding the line on concerns about human rights? In fact, the Liberals have been inconsistent on human rights. We had a lot of questions about Saudi Arabia's participation in the Women's Council of the United Nations. The Liberals ignored those concerns. So they've got to be consistent. I think they're hiding behind that issue a little bit to avoid acknowledging that there was a bit of a diplomatic mistake made.
Your government, though, was responsible for that arms deal with the Saudis, which continues to sort of be a cause for a lot of debate in our country, and now we're not sure what's going to happen with that either. What's your take on that?
Well, look, this is the distinction in diplomacy. There's values on one side and there's interests. And some countries like the United Kingdom, Australia, some of our traditional longstanding allies, the values and interests are perfectly matched with Canada. In the case of Saudi Arabia or China or other countries, our values aren't matched. So how can we engage pragmatically, do some business together, educate physicians and accredit their healthcare professionals? How can we have this exchange while also working with them on improving? In fact, in recent years, Saudi Arabia has toned down their rhetoric against Israel. I think that was good. They're now almost an ally of Israel of sorts. There have been some reforms in the country. We'd like to see them faster. But this is what you have to do. You have to engage pragmatically. Pierre Trudeau used to do that in Cuba with the Castro administration. In fact, Justin Trudeau would go there as a kid when he was one of the world's worst tyrants. And the Liberals always said you had to engage rather than just ignore. So I think they have to do that in all cases. Look, we're here to work with them if we can repair this relationship without sacrificing our values. I think we can do that. I provided some advice to the minister. I found the Prime Minister's comments that he's getting involved, they're getting more directly involved as leaders. I thought that's encouraging, but we also have to learn from this. The Welcome to Canada tweet, the Fidel Castro eulogies, all those sorts of things are where the country can get in real trouble substituting Twitter for the work of our diplomats.
Erin O'Toole is the Conservatives' foreign affairs critic joining us from our studios. Great to have you on the program, and thank you for getting to our studio today, Mr. O'Toole.
Thank you very much.